Hey, what's up guys, Joshua's Booster here and welcome back to another Yu-Gi-Oh video. Today we have a pretty interesting one. I want to say it will be a little bit different than what I usually do with videos like this. The structure will kind of be the same. I'll be looking at the deck list, and then after that I have a replay for you guys that we will be going through and just, analyzing the technical play. However, what is slightly different this time is that we are looking at well, maybe not an interesting deck, but I think this deck really represents something that's very interesting. And also the replay I have is super cool in my opinion. It's really good. It will be very interesting, but let's first talk about the deck and why I think this deck is so interesting to talk about. Because I really think this deck specifically, like no other deck in the game, represents power creep. And if you are not familiar with this deck is Mega Monarch, as some might call it. You will probably just call it Monarch in the current year. But in 2016, which is when this deck was released, this deck was just... I wouldn't necessarily say it was the best deck in the game, because arguably that spot would go to the Pendulum deck from back then. However, this deck was the most powerful deck in the game and the most annoying deck in the game to play against. And when I'm talking about this deck, I'm not referring to Domain Monarch per se, but just any Monarch variant. So both Domain Monarch from back then and Extra Deck Monarch from back then. Domain Monarch being the deck like this, where you just, try to shut your opponent out by playing Domain. And Extra Deck Monarch was more like a combo version of the deck, which didn't focus on shutting down your opponent by using Domain, but just basically overwhelming your opponent with the crazy advantage this deck generates, which is what this deck did. Like no other deck in the game. Basically, when Monarch got its engine rolling, the game was over for any deck it played against, which made it so frustrating because the deck was also very prone to bricking, which is something that Extra Deck Monarch tried to mitigate by playing Brilliant Fusion with, I'm not sure what it was called, but like the level 5 you could add back with the Gem Knight Lazuli when you send with Brilliant Fusion to make Brilliant Fusion a tribute monster, or a 1-card tribute to enable cards like Return of the Monarchs after that to actually get to your engine. Either way, it was just super frustrating to play against because you knew when your opponent, basically when they went Pantheism, discard Prime, and after that they had a tribute monster, the game was just literally over. You couldn't win. This deck was so insanely powerful. And that's what makes this deck so interesting in my opinion. I think 1 or 2 ban lists ago we finally got Pantheism back to 3, which meant that this deck was once again at full power. Every card in the engine was at 3. And as we saw, the deck did nothing. Even when this deck gets rolling, this deck is not able to compete with decks like... So I'm gonna be referring to LDX Zodiac as like one of the worst decks in the format, but it's not like one of the worst decks. It's just really low in, just sheer power-wise. It's not a very strong deck, even though it is super consistent, and of course you can play a lot of deck cards. But even against decks like that, this deck just struggles so much that this deck is basically just been downsized to a deck where you just have to rely on dropping Vanity's Fiend or Domain and your opponent not outing it as being almost the only win condition, which is insane because this deck has just access to such insane going second cards like Erebus and the Monarch Stormform. These cards, they should be able to break boards like no other, and just setting up Domain and a tribute monster and then Aether in hand maybe for your turn should be insanely strong, but it's just not. Decks, in this year, 5 years after the release of the Monarch deck, there's just so much gas in the combo decks like Dragon Link. Just like 1 or 2 disrupts, it's just not enough. The deck will keep playing, and when it does its combo, it will just, wipe out all your life points or put up so many negates that it's just almost impossible to play through the deck or to play through the field. And then the control decks, they seem so much less strong, but just, having cards like Zeus and the Dogmatica engine also plays a part in this. It's somehow so strong. And then one of the harshest things about this deck as well is that you need to play as many consistency cards as possible, because, you know, this deck is really prone to bricking and you really just want to get to your engine. And it just, there's almost no space to play tech cards, which also makes it hard to actually build for the format, because you just want to go all in on the engine, basically. Which is just something I think is very, very interesting. And I just wanted to point out before going into the actual deck list, which is also the reason why I kind of wanted to make this video, just because I think, I wouldn't say power creep is a huge problem in Yu-Gi-Oh! I might do like a video on it, on that specific subject later. I don't think it's a huge problem, because it just makes sense, right? I mean, people need to be convinced to buy the new product, and one of the ways to convince people to buy new products is by releasing cards in it that are better than the cards from the previous sets. And that's all fun and games, but it's just crazy to me that a deck this powerful, this oppressive from a few years ago is now reduced to like tier 4 garbage. However, of course, I'm not talking about Monarchs randomly. I really hated it back in 2016, but now since it's like a rogue deck, I love rogue decks. I just I find it kind of enjoyable to play. I'm almost ashamed to say it, but I really do. And this was mostly awakened by my Sealed tournament I did, which I will be linking like somewhere here, so you can check it out if you find it interesting. But yeah, let's just hop into the list. I am playing 3 of both of the Squires. Basically, idea gets you to idols, and idols, when it's summoned, it will allow you to perform an additional tribute summon. And then they also both have a graveyard effect, while idea, when it's sent to the graveyard, you can add back a banish Monarch spell or trap, and then idols, you can banish from the graveyard to basically revive idea, or I guess Mithra, any monster with 800 attack and 1000 defense. So these are basically just the monsters you're gonna tribute for your Monarchs, and for the Monarchs I'm playing just 3 Aether, 3 Erebus. Those are basically your engine Monarchs. They send your Monarch spells and traps to the grave to actually enable your engine. And then both of them sort of guarantee a follow-up, either by summoning a Monarch and then bouncing into your hand, where Erebus allows you to discard a Monarch spell or trap to add a Monarch back from your grave to your hand. And then Erebus also really great at breaking boards, or even going first is not that bad, because you can spin 1 card from your opponent's hand. So very interesting card. Then for the Aether targets, I want to call them, I'm playing 1 Kuras. Which I know a lot of people are probably expecting, because when this card special summons, you can target 2 cards on the field and then destroy them, and then the player who owns the cards, they can draw a card. So if you destroy 2 of your own cards, you can draw 2, or if you destroy 2 of your opponent's cards, which is possible, of course, they get to draw a card. So it's not ideal in that way. And then I'm playing 1 Mithra. I would have liked to play more, actually, because I think the additional tribute summon effect when it's tribute is really strong. But there's just no space. Oh, sorry, I forgot to talk about this one. This is one of the targets I summoned from Aether, which is Celaglair, the Luminous Lunar Dragon. And basically it says, during the main phase, quick effect, you can target 1 monster your opponent controls with attack less than or equal to this card. Return this card to the hand, and if you do, take control of that opponent's monster until the end phase. So, that's once per turn. Very interesting card. This is summonable from Aether, since it does have the Monarch stats of 24 attack and 1000 defense. And it's just basically an alternative disruption to the Kuros Pops. And then I'm playing 1 Venti's Fiends. Like, honestly, maybe I could swap out some of their Erupts for the Venti's Fiend, just because this card is really strong and very oppressive. And if your opponent doesn't draw an out to it, then, you know, GG. But just 1... It's not searchable, since it does have 12,000 defense, opposed to Majesty's Fiends, but just because it's so strong, I wanted to include it in the deck. Then I'm playing Call by the Grave to not lose out to cards like Ghost Bell, Skullmeister, Ash Blossom. I really felt this was necessary. Then I'm also playing Foolish. This is kind of a consistency card to get you to tribute monster in the form of Erebus. Or sometimes it can allow you to go to, you know, send Idea. Or maybe send idols if you have Idea into grave to get access to those effects. Then for all the Monarch spells and traps, I'm playing Triple Domain, Floodgate, Triple Pantheism, best card in the deck, Triple Return. This helps you chain block your Monarch effects as well as set up for the next turn. Triple Tenacity is just, you know, a Rota. Triple Stormforth should be obvious. I'm playing Triple Erupt just because it's another searchable Floodgate that is very, very strong. and then triple prime. I could play 2 of this probably, but I just want to see the famous combo Pantheism Prime as often as possible, and if I, you know, send 2 to the graveyard, I can still have 1 on the field to use the field effect to shuffle back and draw, and then I'm playing Upstart, of course, because consistency. Going through the side deck real quick, I'm playing Gamma. Mostly I want to use this just on my own turn when going second, because I want to activate a card, then when they use some monster negate, I'm gonna go Gamma, and I negated the monster effect, and I will have a tribute fodder for my Monarchs as well, so I thought it was pretty cool. Cyclone just against back row like decks. Dark Ruler, because once you Dark Ruler your opponent's field, it should be relatively easy for this deck to break like the Dragonlink board, for example. Using cards like Stormforth and Erebus, so that's why I'm playing this. Then I'm playing Strike of the Monarch, just an interesting card. You can tribute 1 level 5 or higher, normal summon or set monster, and then negate a card in the field and draw a card. This is also searchable, so I just wanted to try this out inside deck. And then Judgment for when I'm going first. I just want to protect my floodgate setup, basically. So yeah, that's the deck. And like I said, I have a really cool replay against another control deck that's, you know, super popular this format. So yeah, let's get into it. So yeah, hopping into the replay here, guys. You did not see it, but my opponent did win the die roll, and I think he will be electing to go first. So let's see how this turns out. So as you see, my hand here is actually gonna be literally unplayable. So a perfect example of Monarch hands here, where I just have a bunch of Monarch spells and traps, a Monarch, but nothing to tribute. So what I could potentially top deck here would be Pantheism, Tenacity, Idols, Idea, or even Domain if my opponent puts up a monster and I can Stormforth that. But I will have to draw one of those 3 offs, and if I don't, I won't be able to play. As you see, my opponent is playing Zodiac. I'm not sure if he's playing Eldlik or not yet. He's just gonna go Trident set to pass. I am going to draw Aver, so this does absolutely nothing. I'm just gonna up to actually pass turn, because I don't want to lose out my cards or give away what I'm playing, even though I do have 0 extra deck cards, so my opponent could probably guess I'm playing Monarch or maybe Draco. And then he's gonna hit with Trident. I'm gonna go into Zeus with 6 materials here, I think. Yep. So I do top deck Idea here, which is a really good top deck, because what I will be able to do now is I will be going to Idea, Eidos, and then I'm gonna do like a cool play in my opinion here, because what I think what's gonna happen is I'm gonna set the Prime Monarch, then I'm gonna summon Idea to bring out Eidos, and then when he goes for Zeus there, then the Prime Monarch will be in the grave, and I will be able to go Stormforth. Oh, actually, I will be able to go Stormforth, then bench the Stormforth for the Prime Monarch, and that way he will have Zeus on the field and the Prime Monarch, and then I can tribute both for one of my Monarchs. However, if he's smart, he can obviously just pop my Prime Monarch, so I'm gonna try that line of play anyway. But he actually has Impermanence here, which hurts really bad, because it means I won't be able to do anything for the rest of the turn. And in the end phase, he's just gonna send the entire field, and he's actually gonna send Aquiro, which is kind of rough for me, because that means, I mean, now I know he's playing Eldlik as well, and this will get him access to his Eldlik engine. And basically at this point, I feel I've lost already. He's gonna bring out, this is not literally game, but I will definitely have to top deck something good to get out of this. Yeah, I'm gonna top deck Foolish here, which does nothing, I think. Or, oh, yeah, actually this does something, because I need the Idols in the grave to actually get access to my Idea. So I'm going to try that. He's going to allow it actually, so that's good for me. Then I'm gonna go Idea effect, but he is going to edge that, which is kind of annoying. And he still has 2 pops for Zeus, so that means if he does play this out correctly, I won't be able to actually bring out one of my Monarchs. And then he's also gonna pop my Idea. So pretty rough here. I'm gonna go Stormforth. Then going to bring out the Prime, which is fine. Then he is going to Zeus. If he did not do this, I might be able to get back into the game, but he plays out correctly, so. I just lose this game, mostly due to poor starting hand. But it is what it is. This is definitely part of Monarchs. I'm going to allow my opponent to go first, actually, because I know the field he will be putting up. Oh, I am actually going first. Okay. Cool. So I do open a really good hand here, luckily. It's kind of rough. I drew the Kurals because, as you'll see later, I sided out the dragon, actually, which was probably a misplay. I did put it in after this game, so I won't have like a proper Aether interaction. So I'm gonna go. This is basically the best hand you can get, right? Digging for cards. The cards I do draw are not the best, admittedly, but this is going to allow me to set up Domain and Aether. And then also get back the Pantheism with the idea. Bring out another Aether so I have access to it for the next turn. Then I'm gonna draw some more cards. Which, the Destiny is a good draw, I have to admit. Idea not so much, because I do already have access to it for the next turn, basically, from the graveyard effects, but that's fine. Bring out the Prime here as well. Just because I have 2, right, so I will just be able to bring out 1 each turn. He's gonna go Lightning Storm on my Domain, which I think is interesting. I think it would have probably been better to do it on the monsters, but, I mean, this will allow him to get into his engine, so it doesn't matter that much. He's just gonna wipe my field regardless, which is fair enough. I'm not gonna go Aether here. There's really no point because it will get wiped anyway, and then I won't have a follow-up for next turn. In the form of a Monarch. Well, I do have Kuros, but oh, he opens the absolute nuts here. It seems gonna add Conquistador, and then he's gonna go Zeus effect, which is a good play because it will get him access to the Outland, and then Outland is gonna send Conquistador, and then he's gonna set the Sanguine. In the end phase, I'm gonna bring out Prime, which is fine by him. I'm gonna draw Ventis Fiend, so this makes the hand pretty interesting because once I get out Ventis Fiend, both the Zoo and the Eldritch Engine actually won't be able to do much of anything. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add Stormforth with the Pantheism, and I just basically what I hope is I want to go Stormforth, and then hopefully he just wipes the field, and then I will be able to tribute his Zeus for the Ventis Fiend, and then I'm just in full control of the game. But sadly he is gonna go Sanguine, which makes sense, right? And if I now just drop the Ventis Fiend, I won't be able to out his entire field. I guess that's not entirely true, but you'll see what I'm gonna do. At this point, I'm just gonna try to push, because when he, if he negates this, that's fine, and if he does pop it eventually, that's fine as well, because I will get the effect of the idea, and I will have outed both his cards. So I'm gonna go add back the Domain. Then I'm gonna bring out Prime. Oh, right, yeah, so basically because of idea, I have 2 tribute summons now. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna Domain, reduce the Aether, so I will be able to bring out the Aether first and trigger her effect, which he's gonna Ash, which is kind of unlucky, to be honest. Maybe I should have went Tenacity for a return. Or no, I think I wanted to keep that for another Stormforth, actually, for the next turn as a disruption. But that's fine, because now I will be able to go Tenacity. Oh, I'll be able to get return anyway. So yeah, I guess that was a misplay on my part. Should have just gotten it first, and then he wouldn't have been able to Ash my idea. But I guess this eventually will, you know, he actually tries to Rule Shark me here, but love DB. Anyway, then he tries to Rule Shark me here again. Or well, Rule Shark me, he just doesn't understand my cards, I guess. He's like, you can't search because Ventis Fiend does have the Monarch stats, but that's not actually relevant for return. So yeah, gonna add Aether for another follow-up, then attack with both my cards and hope this setup is just too much for him to out. But my opponent is a good player, and actually, did he top deck the... we can't. It's kind of annoying, you can't rewind in DB, but it looked like he top decked the Outland, which is one of his very few outs, I think, to the Domain. Or to the Ventis Fiend, I should say, because now he's going to be able to search for Eldritch, and we are actually going to enter an insane grind game. Because he's just going to be able to play discarding Skirting here, which is interesting. I'm not sure if I would keep that in the deck against Monarch, but yeah. He's going to bring out Golden Lord, then he also has Tanky. So he has access to both his engines again. 2 traps, I think, engrave. Oh no, he just has the Sanguine. But yeah, kind of unlucky. So yeah, I'm gonna have to face Trident again, I think, because he's gonna be able to equip something to it with Tiger Mortar, of course. And then maybe also Zeus. No Zeus, so just yeah, just the Hakuro and the Conquistador. We know it is Conquistador because he added it last turn. So we have to play through 3 disrupts. Let's see if we are able to do that. Bring out Prime, which he's gonna allow. Top deck Stormform here, which is quite a good draw, to be honest. He is going to Conquistador on the idea, which I'm targeting with Eidos, which is definitely a correct play. And there's not much I can do about that. I'm gonna go Stormforth, he's gonna allow that. Then I'm gonna go Domain, which he's also gonna allow, so pretty interesting stuff. So what I was thinking here is, well, actually, now that I think about it, what I should have done, I'm gonna do a misplay here. I should have just gone Mithra, because Mithra actually gives him a token, and then he would have at least been forced to pop the token with the Trident to make his Conquistador live. I'm gonna bring out another Prime. Then I'm gonna tribute the Trident here for Aether. Trigger Return as well, which he's gonna allow, and bring out Erebus, because I think this is the last Aether. Yeah, this is the last Aether, so that is kind of unfortunate. Then I'm gonna put the Prime to attack and just swing over his Elton because of Domain. He's gonna go activate Conquistador and he's gonna pop Aether, so I won't be able to run over his Golden Lord here, which is a little bit unfortunate, but it is what it is. So I'm just gonna swing over the, what's it called, the Hakuro, because it has the most attack. And then I am going to, yeah, I'm forced to pass turn and Erebus returns to my hand because of Aether effect, and he's gonna try to activate Hakuro, which is not a legal play. He's gonna bring out his other lords, which is fine. It puts the lord with the low attack to defense, which is a good play in my opinion. So far my opponent is playing pretty well. He's gonna set another card. Let's see what it is. It is a Cosmic Cyclone, alright. I'm gonna bring out Prime again, and he's gonna go for both his Golden Land cards. Bring out double Sanguine. I'm going to top deck another Stormforth, so once again a really good top deck in a row. Going for Mithra here. Put the token anywhere. Then I'm going to go Domain on Erebus, so that's just 1 tribute. Gonna go Kuros, and what I want to do here is I want to pop both his Sanguines, so when I get rid of his Golden Lords, that means I will actually be able to out his just attack for game, basically, because I feel I'm not winning the grind game because I'm just totally out of resources in the deck. And I think I sided out one of the primes, so I'm not able to put them back into the deck anymore either. I'm kind of curious what my opponent draw, because of course. Gonna add another Erebus. He's drawing 2 cards that do absolutely nothing. Alright. I'm gonna go Stormforth, tribute that guy. Then I'm gonna shuffle back his set, put both my primes to attack, and my opponent's actually gonna concede their fun fact. I could not have attacked with the Kuros actually because of his effect. So maybe scooping there was not the best. And in hindsight, I also should have just shuffled the Golden Lord with the Erebus, because that means I could have attacked for game that specific turn immediately. And then just hoped his set was nothing, which is, I'm not a huge fan of doing that, especially after giving my opponent 2 cards, but it is what it is. So yeah, my opponent is gonna go first. He's gonna go open God Hand once again. Also, Dark Ruler in his deck to out Venti's feet, I think, which is interesting. He's gonna go tanky. Go for Turbo Blade. Probably dig for another card. Yeah, I don't think I agree with this play, to be honest. I think it's better to just keep a Zoo in hand for a guaranteed follow-up. Sorry. But I guess if you draw tanky from the draw, that is fine. He's just gonna do the signature play for the Celtic deck. Oh, by the way, let's just go through my hand real quick. I have Stormforth, Return, Judgment, Domain, because I I just think in a grinding matchup like this, it's good to have this card in the deck. And idea, so I really need to draw a Monarch card here, because without one, I won't be able to play. And yeah, just this once again just really showcases what Monarch used to do all the time. And my opponent is gonna end on probably the best field you can have in this deck, especially since I'm not playing something like Lightning Storm or Feather Duster. Luckily, we do draw the Aether here, so I was quite happy about that, which means I will be able to play. I'm gonna go Domain, just see if he is gonna pop it, which he does actually. He is going to opt to destroy it with Conquistador, chaining Sanguine here. But that is fine, we do have Idea, and if he doesn't have access to Ash or Impermanence, we will be able to play here. And, I mean, you can see he does not, so that's good. He's gonna go Trident here to pop Idea, which is a fine play in my opinion. However, of course, I do have Stormforce, so I will be able to bring out a Monarch here. So, going to tribute the Lord here. And then after that, I will be able to run over both his monsters, because the Lord is too big, right? Bring out another Aether here, so I have it in hand for the follow-up for next turn. Just gonna run over both his cards. And then with Pantheism, I'm gonna be able to add... I just want to get access to Stormforth so I can tribute his monster on the next turn with the Aether in my hand. But I already have one Stormforth engraved, so I have to review Tenacity, which he's gonna give to me. So I'm just gonna go Tenacity, review Erebus, and add the Stormforth to my hand anyway. Then I'm gonna set Judgment and Stormforth, and I am going to bring out Prime, I think. Yeah. So, feeling pretty good at this moment. My opponent, of course, does have access to these cards, the what I call the Golden Land cards, and we will see that he also does have access to another Zodiac card, which is kind of annoying, but we are in a fine position. I want to say he's gonna bring out the Lord, I think, to bait some kind of interaction, but I'm not gonna walk to debate. And when he's gonna summon the Zoo, I think I'm gonna go Stormforth. Yeah, I'm gonna Stormforth, tribute my Prime, I think, and his Zodiac. And then I'm going to bring out Kuros, I think. Yeah, search for another Erebus and bring out Kuros. And with Kuros, I'm just gonna dig for some more cards, because why not? He's actually gonna allow that. He could have Ashed here, but he opts not to, which is alright, I think. Probably preferring to save it for something like Pantheism or maybe Idea. And then he's gonna set up for another Sanguine and what's it called? Another Conquistador. So we once again have 3 cards to play through. I'm gonna go bring out the Prime, which he's gonna allow. I top deck Cyclone here, so I'm, as you can see in this match, I'm really good at top decking cards with this deck apparently. I want to get access to Idea here. He's gonna go Hakuro, and I think about this quite a lot, but in the end I really want to get access to Idea, because I want to add some of my banished Monarch spells and traps back, which is the main reason, to be honest. So I am going to opt to Cyclone it, because I figure I can beat the Conquistador anyway with the hand I have. Gonna go Idea effect, but he does have the Ash Blossom, which is kind of unfortunate. And then on Resolution, he's actually gonna go Conquistador my Idea, which will allow me to get back one of my banished cards. And then my opponent's gonna admit defeat. GG, Monarch, best deck. So I think my opponent was probably a little bit upset that he made what I would definitely consider to be a misplay, and he scooped up the game. I'm not even sure if I would have won this one, to be honest. I mean, it was looking pretty good for me, but you never know, right? Especially since Erebus can also shuffle back grave cards. But yeah, this is just a little video I wanted to do to just talk a little bit about, you know, give an example of power creep, and then just show off this deck, because I think it's kind of cool. And I also thought this replay was specifically very good, very grindy, which is just one of my favorite parts about Yu-Gi-Oh! But yeah, this video has been going on for like 30 minutes straight, so yeah, if you did enjoy this content, be sure to leave a like, leave a comment if you want to, and if you have not subscribed yet, but do enjoy this kind of in-depth content, be sure to do so, and if you do, I'll see you in the next one. Bye!